In a quiet Colorado town, one woman's backyard brunch turned into a full-blown courtroom battle. No noise, no chaos, just scones, string lights, and a little joy. But the HOA saw a threat and declared war. What started as lemon tea and folding chairs unraveled into a fight for freedom, neighborly spirit, and the right to just live. This is the true story of how Brunch nearly broke the system and brought a town together. It was a crisp spring morning in Elmwood, Colorado, the kind of morning that smelled like lilacs and fresh coffee. Linda Marsh, 68, stood on her porch in a faded Elmwood Tigers sweatshirt, cradling a mug as she surveyed the flower beds she'd coaxed back to life with quiet determination. 2 years earlier, she'd beaten stage 3 breast cancer. A year after that, her husband, Dan, passed quietly, in his sleep, leaving behind a house full of memories and a garage full of vintage cars. Linda sold everyone, using the money not to run, but to rebuild her home, her health, herself. So when she decided to throw a small front yard brunch, just a dozen chairs, lemon scones, egg salad, and her book club friends under string lights, it wasn't just a party. It was a celebration of survival, of new chapters. What she didn't expect was war. 3 days before the brunch, a white envelope with a gold seal appeared in her mailbox. Inside, a community disruption notice from the Elmwood Hills HOA. The claim Linda's event violated Covenant 7C, visual uniformity and tranquility. The letter sounded like it had been drafted by a bureaucrat who thought folding chairs were subversive, and quiche was a threat to democracy. Linda laughed. At first, surely a mistake, but when she called the HOA office, she was met not with clarity, but with Gretchen Langford, the HOA's president and unofficial tyrant of Elmwood Hills. "Your yard is not a venue," Gretchen snapped, "and we expect decorum." Linda's fingers tightened around the phone. "It's brunch. Gretchen, scones and lemonade, not Coachella. If you proceed," Gretchen said icily, "the board will take legal action." And she meant it. Within 48 hours, Linda received a notice of intent to sue. The HOA threatened thousands in fines, court fees, and even forced community service for flagrant disregard of neighborhood code. Word spread fast, but no one spoke up. Gretchen had fined a man $300 last month for painting his shutters the wrong shade of taupe. People were afraid, except Jason and Priya, the young couple across the street, who quietly knocked on Linda's door the night before the hearing. "We're with you," Jason said. "We'll testify." On the morning of the hearing, Linda walked into the Elmwood County Courthouse, flanked by a wall of support former students, retired teachers, book club members, even the manager from the local bakery, who had donated a tray of lemon bars for the cause. Judge Raymond Harris, a grizzled Vietnam vet with a no-nonsense demeanor, presided. The HOA's lawyer, a fresh-faced man who looked more nervous than prepared, presented evidence, photos of folding chairs, a flyer for the brunch with pastel fonts, and a shaky video showing 2 children playing cornhole. Gretchen took the stand with all the dramatic flair of a theater reject. "This event," she intoned, "jeopardized the visual harmony of Elmwood. It triggered unrest." "Did anyone file a noise complaint?" the judge asked. "No, but police reports parking issues." "Not formally, but—" "Ma'am," he interrupted, peering over his glasses, "are you seriously suing this woman for brunch?" The courtroom paused, then erupted in laughter. Even the court stenographer had to cover her mouth. Linda's lawyer, a seasoned local named Marion Ruiz, stood up, grinning. "Your Honor, Covenant 7C applies to commercial gatherings. Linda's brunch was private, peaceful, and attended by friends and neighbors. No HOA rules were broken, only egos bruised." In less than 10 minutes, Judge Harris dismissed the case with prejudice. Then he went a step further. "I see a troubling pattern of authoritarian overreach," he said. "I'm referring the Elmwood Hills HOA board to the county for review. And, Mrs. Marsh, you'll be reimbursed for all legal costs." Gretchen's face paled. Jason let out a cheer. And Linda, she just smiled. The fallout was immediate. The Elmwood Gazette ran the headline, "Judge to HOA let her eat scones." A petition to remove Gretchen Langford from office gathered over 100 signatures in 3 days. At the emergency HOA meeting, she tried to defend herself. But the crowd, once silent, was no longer afraid. By the following week, Gretchen was gone. The new HOA board, led by a kind retired school counselor named Marvin Reed, promised transparency, community involvement, and most importantly, no more brunch trials. 2 weeks later, Linda threw another party. Only this time, it wasn't just brunch. It was a full-blown celebration. Kids ran through sprinklers. A local jazz trio played under the string lights. Neighbors brought dishes, tandoori chicken, deviled eggs, and a suspiciously strong sangria. Even Judge Harris made an appearance, munching quietly on lemon bars by the hedges. Above Linda's yard, a handmade banner fluttered. "Welcome to the Brunch Rebellion. Everyone's invited." What started as a ridiculous lawsuit became a turning point for Elmwood. Lawn flamingos reappeared. Porch swings returned. People who'd once waved behind curtains now stopped to chat, sharing stories over fences. And Linda, she sat with a cup of tea, watching it all. "I didn't want to start a movement," she said to Jason one afternoon. "I just wanted to serve muffins." He grinned. "Well, you serve justice too." Linda now hosts seasonal garden brunches, always open to the public, never needing permission. The HOA rulebook was rewritten. Covenant 7C gone, replaced with one line. "Community is not built through silence. It's built through lemonade, laughter, and folding chairs." As for Gretchen Langford, she quietly moved to another subdivision, one without an HOA. They say you can't fight City Hall. But in Elmwood, Colorado, a retired teacher with a Tupperware of scones proved that sometimes all it takes is brunch.